The Japanese culture are often frustrating for a few, and interesting for several, counting on the experiences we encounter during this conservative but highly modernized nation. The degree of cultural differences also varies supported your country of origin, but it's still interesting to understand these facets regardless of where you're from. We have collated a couple of facts that you simply will want to understand about, especially if you've got plans to go to Japan. Or maybe if you simply need a couple of tidbits of data to reinforce your conversations with friends. Of these are a set of facts from personal experiences of individuals who live in Japan. The drinking rules. One great way to insult someone, anyone, especially someone you're doing business with, or someone whose position is above you, is to refuse an alcoholic drink that was poured for you. In Japan, the etiquette dictates that the lads should pour alcohol for every other consistent with seniority, which suggests that the junior should pour for his senior first. Then the senior will pour for the junior next. So once you leave for dinner, don't assume that somebody within the group is lesser than you in terms of labor position. Pour for everybody just to be safe, and to be extra polite, and successively, drink everything that had been poured for you. If you're not keen on alcoholic drinks, it'll help if you drink slowly. 2. Mobile phones. Almost all of Japan's phones are high-tech, and that they are years before us in terms of technology. Their mobile phones, for instance, are typically 5 years more advanced than people who we use within the UK or the US, and that they are cheap, too. Did you recognize, however, that the Japanese get very annoyed with people that are talking on the mobiles while on a train, a bus, or in any quiet environment? It's actually required that you simply put your mobile on silent and switch the ringer off whenever you tread on a train or a bus. If you actually need to make a call, or answer one, you ought to be as quiet and discreet about it as you'll. Ramen. Many folks probably know ramen as those instant noodles in cups, otherwise you may have had them in Asian restaurants in your own country. The Japanese are very particular about their food and consider it to be vital, and ramen sits on top of their most prized food list. The first thing to try to do once you get to Japan is to possess authentic ramen at an honest outlet. Note though, that a number of these establishments have a prescribed thanks to eat ramen. Remember that you simply should eat the food immediately, don't ask your companions, and show your appreciation to the chef by slurping loudly. Ramen is superb when eaten hot and fresh, before the noodles become soggy. So as to avoid burning your tongue, you ought to slurp while you suck the noodle so as to chill it down. If you actually want to form an impact, compliment the chef by exclaiming "Oishi" while watching him within the eye. Oishi means delicious, by the way. You will find that local food is reasonable and Western food is dear, which is why we recommend that you simply abandoning of TGI Fridays for your night out and instead try the various local restaurants within the locale of where you're staying. If the restaurant's menu is entirely Japanese, you'll request for an English version by saying "Igo menu aramasuka." What to try to do once you lose or find something. If you've got lost something in Japan, there's an enormous chance that you simply will find it within the koban or the local police box, which you'll find around the neighborhoods. There are numerous stories from friends who dropped their wallets or left their mobile phones on ATM machines and located them right there even after several hours. So if you've got a thought where you would possibly have left something, you'll just attend the closest police box and can quite likely to seek out it there. A Japanese-speaking friend would are available handy, since you'd probably find it difficult to elucidate in English and expect them to know. The lost and located rules in Japan are simple. You only got to report the incident to the koban or local police box and provides the cops your name, contact details and address. If within 6 months the item you returned has not been claimed, it becomes yours. You will find that local food is reasonable and Western food is dear, which is why we recommend that you simply abandoning of TGI Fridays for your night out and instead try the various local restaurants within the locale of where you're staying. If the restaurant's menu is entirely Japanese, you'll request for an English version by saying "Igo menu aramasuka." One vital thing to recollect when eating in Japan is that it's considered rude to tip the waiter or any staff, so you don't even believe it. 5. Lining up for a drink at a bar. When you choose an evening call at a club or a bar, especially people who aren't touristy, you'll see a lineup at the bar. No, it's not like where you're from, where it's probably a free-for-all thing, because in Japan, people like keeping things orderly, in order that they line up, so as to not get frowns or any negative vibes to the tune of "Bakagichin, stupid foreigner," coming your way from the locals. Remember to line up just like the remainder of the gang and wait your turn patiently. You will find that local food is reasonable and Western food is dear, which is why we recommend that you simply abandoning of TGI Fridays for your night out and instead try the various local restaurants within the locale of where you're staying. If the restaurant's menu is entirely Japanese, you'll request for an English version by saying "Yigo menu aramasuka." One vital thing to recollect when eating in Japan is that it's considered rude to tip the waiter or any staff, so you don't even believe it. 6. Bicycles. In big cities that have heavy traffic and small streets, bicycles are highly popular, mainly for the convenience and practicality. In Japan, there are many bicycles lying around. You would possibly be tempted to borrow any of these unlocked bicycles you see on the road and see them as prey. Stop, don't roll in the hay. You recognize why? A gichin on a bicycle may be a beacon for patrolling police. Bicycle owners are required to possess a license for the bike under their names, so if you purchase one in Japan, confirm towards your license and keep it with you in the least times. If you borrow one, confirm that you simply bring a replica of the bike's license, because if you don't, you'll probably spend the night in jail and be in serious legal trouble. 7. Getting to the toilet. We have all experienced shopping or being out and about once we are suddenly hit by a robust urge to use the toilet. The sad reality in most cities in Europe or in North America is that public bathrooms could also be difficult to seek out, or, in some cases, you would like to get something from an institution before you'll use their facilities. Another good thing about Japan is that there are tons of bathrooms everywhere, and you'll freely use people who are in restaurants or coffee shops. There's also no law against urinating publicly, so if you actually got to go, you'll stop by the side of the road and make it your makeshift urinal, as long as you're discreet about it. Yes, it's going to sound disgusting to several of you, but now a minimum of you recognize that you simply won't be apprehended for breaking the law against urinating during a public place. 8. Bathing rituals. If you're guesting at the house of a Japanese family for the night, you'll be required to require a shower. A standard Japanese house features a room that features a separate shower and bathtub, the bathtub crammed with predicament every evening in order that their relations can bathe. Yes, everyone uses that very same tub, and therefore the same water during the night, so as a guest, you'll be offered the honor of bathing first. So it's vital that you simply accept this wholeheartedly, because even a polite refusal are going to be considered as an enormous insult. There is a strict bathing procedure to follow. Don't just jump into the water and make it dirty for everybody else within the house. You're required to shower before you get into the bathtub, and you've got to shampoo and wash yourself off properly before you'll soak within the bathtub. Don't stay long, however, because the water will got to be hot enough for subsequent loved one. 9. Sleeping on the streets. It is commonplace to ascertain men in their business suits sleeping on the streets everywhere Tokyo, with their briefcases as their pillows. Don't stare, because they're going to merely have gotten stranded on their way home because the last train has gone, and have decided to sleep nearby the railway station. If you discover yourself within the same situation, or run aground with none cash for a taxi, you'll join them. Just find a cushy spot somewhere quiet and obtain some sleep until the trains start running again at 6 a.m. Super high-tech toilet seats. Toto toilet seats are everywhere Japan. They feature an auto-lifting cover, built-in bidet, heated seats, and dryers, with some models that accompany flushing sounds to hide the embarrassing noises one makes when going. All those lovely features have complicated controls, beat Japanese. So if you're at a Japanese house, and you see one among this stuff, don't be embarrassed or afraid to invite instructions. because it'll be more embarrassing if you mistakenly splash water on yourself rather than flushing, then need to find out the way to clean yourself up. Also note of the slipper situation, which wearing shoes inside a house is rude. You'll usually tend a pair of slippers once you enter a house. There'll be another pair inside the toilet, near the door. Here the clip has ended today. If you want to talk about strange information for other countries or cultures, write in the comments. Do not forget the like button.